Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our seminar this morning. We will be talking about homeschooling, so make sure you're in the right seminar. And that I'm so happy that you are joining this morning. And before we start, I would like to have a word of prayer with you. So let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this new Sabbath that you have given us, for your love and your blessings and your kindness to us every single day. Thank you because you say that your mercies are new every morning. We come before you this morning and we ask you to be with us as we learn about education for our children. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So if you are in this seminar, it's because you want to learn about homeschooling, because you're thinking about it, you are considering it, or maybe you are already homeschooling. So I would like to know your names. So if you can unmute yourself and tell me your names and what state are you logging in from? Maybe you're here in Florida, or maybe you're in another state. So that would be great if I can know your names. And
Good morning.
morning.
My name is Yolanda McWilliams, and I'm joining you from Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, Yolanda.
I am a homeschooling mom and a working mom, so I do both. So the rest of the world is catching up with me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy that you're joining us this morning. All right, very good. Welcome, Yolanda. And I see I have someone else to hear. What is your name and where are you joining us from? The screen says Evangelist.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Evangelist. I'm here with my husband, Kevin Evangelist. We are joining you from Florida. We are expecting our first child and curious about homeschooling, so that's why we decided to join the class.
Oh, congratulations on that expecting that you're having right now. That is such a great time.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, very good. Let's get started then. And feel free to write any comments or question in the chat as I go with the presentation. And let's just begin. All right. I know that often when we think about homeschool, we think of a room like that probably, or maybe not. And Yolanda, I don't know how yours looks at home, but the homeschool rooms can look so many ways different depending on how you want yours to look. Let me tell you, that's not mine at home, but a few years ago, a school that we were using as an umbrella decided to do a contest to see, how the homeschool rooms were in the different homes all around the world. And they asked everyone to send a picture. And I was very reluctant to send a picture of our homeschool room because I didn't know, what was the criteria. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. I'm not a person that I like to participate in contests or in things like that. But, I decided, what, let me take a picture. So I took a picture and I sent it. And then they wrote me back and they said, your picture is not too clear. Can you take it again and send it to us again? So I did, and I sent it again. And I said, okay. And when I sent it back, the deadline was almost over. As a matter of fact, I thought I had missed the deadline, but it looks like I didn't. And it was very surprising when we, a couple of weeks later, we got an email saying that our room was the winner. So we were so excited. We were like, wow, our room was the winner of the homeschool room picture contest. They put it online and people voted for it. And I didn't even follow, the voting or anything. I just, sent the picture. And it was quite a great surprise. So, I'm showing this picture that I just found online for you because, when we think about homeschooling, we have so many thoughts in our brains. And not only that, but very often we have people that will tell us these things. You will have people that will come in and tell you, oh, how will he socialize with others? He will never have friends. Or kids need to be around other kids. Homeschool kids are weird. And you are denying him so much. He's going to be missing so much in so many things in life because you're just keeping him in a bubble. And your child will be lonely. He will never be normal. And very often we tend to listen all these comments from other people. And sometimes it hurts our heart because, we have made a decision as a family that this is what we want for our children education. And that, and then we hear all this criticism. And sometimes I think to myself and I say, I didn't say to come and homeschool with me. I didn't say, hey, would you like to homeschool? You were the one that come and asked me and say, oh, do you homeschool? So why are you making those comments to me? Sometimes we tend to be very harsh on people. And it could be that maybe one of you was that person that made comments on somebody else, and now you're looking at it and you say, hey, this doesn't look so bad after all. And, I can try it too. But let me tell you, homeschooling has so many benefits, and there are so many great things about it. And we're going to be talking about it today. And I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation. And to start this conversation, I want to base this in a few Bible verses that I really like and that will give us guidance and strength and just the certainty that this is the right thing to do. And here is the first one. It is found in Psalms 127:3. And feel free to take a screenshot or take a picture with your phone. If you see something, if you see a Bible verse that really gets to you and that applies to you, and you say, hey, this is what I needed. Okay, and this one says, children are a heritage from the Lord, and the fruit of the womb in his reward. And what a great Bible verse. Children are a heritage from the Lord. I don't know you, but the last time I heard an inheritance is something that you get from someone as a gift. So in other words, we can say that children are a gift from the Lord, and we have no doubts about that. I'm sure we can go around asking moms, asking parents, what a gift their children are. There are so many parents that went through so much to have their children that they couldn't. Others that have adopted. Others that was very easy for them to, conceive, but, had a hard pregnancy maybe. Others that everything was fine and no problem, but in any way, children are a gift from the Lord. It's the precious gift that he has given us. That after, we decided to form a family, we get this precious child that we have the honor to be able to raise and to teach them in the path of the Lord. There is this next Bible verse, I love it too. It says, Father, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. And you have your instruction right there. It says, bring them up in the discipline and instruction. And as far as I know, instruction means to be teaching, right? And instruction of the Lord. Okay, let's look at the next one. Deuteronomy 4:9 says, only be careful and watch yourselves closely so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen or let them fade from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to their children after them. And the word is clear for you right here. It says, teach them to your children. Next one says, teach these words of mine to your children, talking about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. So many often, we go to the park, we go to the beach, we go to different places with our children, maybe amusement park. And those are perfect scenarios, perfect places for you just to sit down with your children or as you go for a walk and use every instant of nature to just talk about the Lord and about our heavenly place where we are going. Because remember, we are not educating children for this world. We are educating for heaven. That's going to be our ultimate place. It's not the life that we have here. We want our children to succeed, and we want them to be successful in this world and to achieve great things. But the ultimate goal is heaven. It's not here. And we need to remember that. So the Bible is telling us that we need to train these children in everything that we do every day, not just once a day, not just when we go to church on Sabbath, not only if you attend any specific event for them, but it says, as you walk along the road, when you lie down. And I found that's one of the best places to be talking to your children and get to their heart. At the end of the day, there is no more rush, there is no more worry. And then, I sit down with my children in the couch, and then we just talk about the word, about the Bible, about what the Lord has in store for us. It's just a great time for you to get to their heart. Maybe you go to their bed and lay down with them and talk to them about the Lord, about their day, how it went, and the many things that they did that day. And that's a perfect time for you to instill about the word of God in their lives. Also, when they get up early in the morning, as soon as they get up in the morning, a perfect time for you to talk to them about God and to just to try to put every little thing in their mind that is related to God, because He created us, and everything in creation is related to the plan that He has for us in our lives. And here comes one that I'm sure you have heard so many times, and that a Bible verse that I really love and keep really close to my heart. And it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it." And that is a very, very true Bible verse. I have known so many people, so many families that they grew up in church, and then when they get older, then they decided they don't want to be in church anymore for one reason or for the other. But sooner or later, those people come back. And they always have that in their heart. And even sometimes, even if they're not physically attending church or being involved in church, but they have in their heart the love for God, and they are good people, and they try to do well. So train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it, for sure. Okay? So that Bible verse tells me that we are in charge. So the school is not in charge. The teachers are not in charge. The grandparents are not in charge. You are in charge. You are in charge of your children. The Lord gave them to you. The Lord didn't give your children to the teacher in the school. He didn't give your children to to the grandparents or to a cousin or an uncle or somebody else. The Lord gave those children to you because the Lord believes that you have the capacity, the love, the kindness, the smartness to train up those children. And that's why they're yours. There is no other reason for it. That's the way the Lord made it happen. And that takes me to something that I truly believe. A child that has not been instructed cannot be disciplined. If you don't instruct your children, if you don't tell them what to do, if you don't tell them how to go about life, you cannot discipline that child because it's not fair. It's like, let's say that you're driving on the road and you are in a road in a foreign country where there is no laws for driving. You can just drive however you want. There is no signs on the road. There is nothing that says stop or go how many miles. You are just there. And then you start speeding or doing whatever you want to do. And suddenly a cop comes and stop you and said, you are under arrest because you've been violating the law. You're not supposed to do that. You know this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then you say, but there is no signs on the road. There is nothing. Nobody told me. There is no rules. Is there anything written that says that I shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that? And there is nothing. So same way, if you do not instruct your children as they are growing, if you don't teach them about what is good, what is not acceptable, what is acceptable, what is a nice thing to do, what is our behavior as human beings, then you cannot discipline that child because you haven't instructed that child. So we have to find that time because we are the parents. And it's our job to find that time and instruct them. So later on, if we need to, we can discipline. So having all that in mind, now we know that we have a biblical base. Now we understand what the Lord wants for us. We know that we are in charge, the parents, and that the Lord has given us the capability of dealing with our children and teaching them. What is homeschool? What is really homeschool? What is that? Okay, we might ask. And some of you that are already homeschooling know what is homeschool. Some of you that are new to it might be wondering and might say, I heard about that, but I'm not sure. And let me tell you, homeschool is any education time that happens at home. You decided that instead of having your children in a classroom, you have your children at home and you're educating them. And that's homeschool. When academic knowledge is happening at home, it's homeschool. Now let's differentiate. Now, because of the pandemic, you can go online and have in the public school have the classes online, and then your children can be sitting there and somebody's instructing them, and you're not doing anything. That's not homeschool. That's online study. Let's make that clear, okay? Homeschooling is when you are the teacher of your children. No, when somebody else is teaching your children online. That is not homeschool, okay? Homeschool is when you are teaching your children. When your children are taking everything online and you don't have anything to do with that, they're just taking classes online, okay? So homeschool is something that has been happening for many years here in the U.S. and has gotten abroad in so many countries, and is perfectly legal in the U.S. and other countries like Canada, the U.K., and many other places around the world. So homeschool is something that has been going on and on for quite a while. And many years ago, let's say like 10 years ago, it would look like homeschool was something that was a new trend in education. And everybody was like, wow, there is something called homeschool. You can do it from home. You can do this and that. That happened many years ago, but here we are. And homeschool is not a new trend in education anymore, because it's something that's been happening for more than 10 years. That has been something that is very normal to do. So homeschool has been increasing as the years go by in the U.S. and in many other places. The spring of 2019 last year, we had around 2.5 million homeschoolers around the U.S. And now with the pandemic, I'm sure that amount has increased a lot. A lot has increased, and a lot of things have changed after the pandemic, because it has definitely changed our lives. And then you might ask yourself, why am I homeschooled? Why do I homeschool? If there are so many other schools out there that can do that, why do I have to homeschool? Well, there is an institute that is the Institute for Home Education Study that study mainly homeschoolers and their lives and things that happen. And it's a very reliable source. You can find them online and see all the research that they have done. And one of the research that they did was that they went ahead and they asked 7,000 homeschooling parents, why do you homeschool? What's the reason that you have for them? And this is the reason. Why are the reasons that they said? They said, parents believe they can give their children a better education at home. That's another reason that people answer. Another one said, well, because of religious reason. I prefer to have my children at home and teach them, in the way that we see the Bible, in the way that we are being educated about our religion. Others said, well, to teach our children values and specific traits of character. We prefer to do that at home. And other people say, to help them develop a sense of morality and a good character. And other people say, well, I keep mine at home because in the school, there is a poor learning environment. And, for my teens, there is a lot of sexual promiscuity, and there is a lot of peer pressure and drugs and things that I cannot control. So that's why I homeschool. Those are the answers of people that attended this study. In my personal case, I homeschooled because I wanted a more family time with my children. And when you get up in the morning, you have to rush to go to work, and then your children are having to rush with you to go to work and to have that stress with them. And then what happens when you are done with your day? You go and pick them up from school, you bring them home. It's time to eat dinner, to take a bath, to do homework, and go to bed. And the next morning, the same routine starts all over. And it repeats all over, and you go through the same cycle. And before you know, your kids are already in high school. You haven't spent any quality time with them. You don't know what their life is about. You know what they're doing. They don't want to spend time with you anymore because they learn to be totally detached from you. That family time, that conversation with family and parents, and that guidance that you're supposed to provide for them is not there anymore. Because the time went by and they found that whoever was shaping their life was the teachers. And if they have questions about anything in life, about friends, about sexuality, about anything, it was answered by their friends. So they learned that way. And now they are in a time where the opinion of their friends is more important than yours. And they don't want to listen to you anymore. Because that time was not created. You didn't create that bond with your children. So there are so many reasons why people homeschool. Now, let's take a look at homeschooling versus traditional school. Again, another study that has been made, and this is what it says. For example, when we are doing homeschooling, it is convenient because you can choose what time you can start your homeschool day. In the school day, start in the early morning. For example, in my case, when my children were little, and I wouldn't like to wake them up and say, okay, it's time to start school. You need to have a structure. But for me, it was important that they would sleep as much as they needed. So when they wake up, they were ready to learn and they wouldn't be sleepy or cranky or anything like that. Now, when your kids are teens and they are in high school, you cannot do that because, a teenager can wake up at 12 noon, opposed to the other children that, they wake up early. Mine would usually wake up by 9. We were ready to start school, sometimes 10. And then, we would start school, with breakfast And I would use the breakfast time to start, talking to them about the Word of God and do worship right there on breakfast, and that would work really well. Also, another difference between home and school is I choose who my kids will play with, and I supervise that playtime. In school, the kids are exposed to play with anybody. During recess, there is no guidance. The teachers are there, and we are watching the children, and we see what they're doing. But you are not seeing that little friend that is getting close to your student and telling them in the ears, "Look at your shoes; they're so ugly." Or "Look at your hair; you don't know how to do your hair," or "You're so dumb." Those are the type of things that will put your children down. And nobody can catch that. You cannot see it. And it happens at recess time. And you don't see it. The teachers cannot see it because the teachers who are out there supervising, but you don't want to be right next to a student, to every one of them. Even if you want to, you cannot physically be close to everyone. It is really hard. And all those things happen during recess time, or those kind of information that you don't want your children maybe to know yet. That is not time for them. All that happens during recess time. So another thing, difference, we study a topic. When you are at home, you can study a topic and you can repeat it over and over and over until you make sure that your student understands the concept. When you are in a school, as much as you want to spend a lot of time with a student that doesn't understand, you need to move on. You have a whole classroom waiting for you and you need to move on. You cannot just stop and stay there until that person gets the information, and then the rest of the class is waiting for you, and you just have to move on, not because you're a bad teacher or because you don't want to help the student, but because you need to move on with the class. So sometimes many of those students will fall through the cracks just trying to learn, trying to get the concept, but there are some children that they don't have any learning disability or anything. They just need a little bit more time to understand, or they just need you to present it in a different way. You know exactly the way your children learn. For example, one of my children, my daughter, I remember when I was teaching her how to read. She was not a person that would sit down in a chair and grab a book and sit down how to read. I would have to teach her how to read. She would climb on a tree, and she would be up there in the tree in the front of the house, and I have to be telling her, "Okay, tell me this word. What can you read here?" And I would put the book up, and then she would look, and then she would tell me. And the same thing we would do with the spelling, and I would be chasing her around the house that way. My boy, in the other hand, would sit down and he would start reading with his finger, following the book and all that. So they learn different ways. And then I thought to myself, if I had put my daughter in the school at that earlier stage, probably the teacher would have told me, "Oh, she has ADD, she has ADHD, she cannot learn, she cannot focus on what we are trying to teach her. Her mind is wandering." No, the kids, they learn in very different way. And guess what? You are the only one that knows how your children learn better because you see them every day and you know how they are. And you know that maybe when they're having that type of behavior like that, it's not because they're bad kids or because they are losing attention or anything. It's because they have a different personality. And those things, you can catch them when you're homeschooling. But when they are in the classroom, there is a structure that cannot be broken because you have a group of children that have to follow one person. And the last one in here says, "I pay attention to all the needs and questions of my kids when I am home. But in the classroom, like we said before, there are too many kids to pay attention to individually." Okay, so those are some of the difference between home and school. Let's go to some statistics, because to this part so far, you can say, "Oh, it sounds very pretty. That's the plan of the Lord for us. The Lord wants us to do that. We know we should be the teachers of our children, that you should give them the instructions that they need. But is this really going to happen? Am I going to really be able to prepare my kids so they can go to college? Or they can have a really good education that if one day I decided to put them back into school, they could be up to date with all the information and the academics?" Well, the statistics say, again, by this Home Education Study Institute, that you can find it online, that in academic achievement, our homeschoolers do way better than the other one. Usually in the standardized tests that they do in public school, those kids, the really smart ones, reach to a 50 percentile, 50. And our homeschoolers, they go all the way up to the 80 percentile. So homeschool kids do really good in academic achievement. Regarding to college, when you have a student that is coming from homeschool, it's very likely that they will be accepted in college, because those kids usually have higher grades. The college people know that they are discipline to study because they have been learning how to study at home with you, and they have the discipline to study. They're higher achiever. They want to do the work. They know what to do and how to do it. So to get into a college is not a problem. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of friends, they have homeschooled their children all the way to college, and they have gotten into college and graduated from their career with no problem at all. How about social, emotional, and psychological? And I have heard this so many times. Oh, but my kids will miss out in social interaction. No, they will not miss out in social interaction. Another study conducted showed that there was this study done in a room with a group of more than 300 kids. And no one told the team of psychologists that were doing the evaluation which one of those kids were homeschoolers or which one of those kids were going to traditional school. So they didn't know. They just went in there and conducted their evaluation for several days of serving these kids, interact and do what they need to do. In conclusion, the study showed that the homeschooled kids were the ones that were more sociable, more emotionally stable, and more mature than the other ones. And remember, the psychologists that were doing the evaluation had no idea who was a homeschooler or not group. So they just, went ahead and separated and they say, okay, this group of children are this way and this group of children are this way. And then when they revealed to them the group of children that had the more maturity level regarding social, emotional, and psychological was the homeschoolers. So they do. Because guess what? When you have those children at home, you teach them to have that security in themselves because they have mom with them in there or dad or both of them, and that creates a sense of security in the children as they grow older. And that helps them to do way more better in those areas. So you might say right now, is homeschool for me? Well, that is a very personal decision that you should make and ask the Lord and pray about it. It's not a decision that you should make and say, oh, I'm so excited about that. So now with the pandemic, I don't want them to go to school, so I'm homeschooling. No, think about it, pray about it, and see if homeschool is for you. Is this something that you want to do? Because remember, you're not going to be teaching at home only academics, but you also want to be teaching them about the Lord. And you also want to be preparing your children to go to heaven, which is our ultimate place where we want to go. So you need to have that in mind. Now, when I think about, and when you think about if homeschool is for you or not, I want to share with you something that I usually like to do with my students in the classroom as a teacher, and also I do it with my own children. And this is something that you should do for fun, but also for information, okay? I want you to look at these trees, and I've chosen this one, but there is a lot of personality tests out there that you can find, and that they are very short. There is one that I like to do with the children that is ice cream cones, and they choose which one they like and talks about their personality trait. And what is this important? This is important because once you know the way they learn, or once you know how their character really is, then you know what type of children you're dealing with. And then it makes it easier for you to teach them, or give you some patience and chance when you need it, when you see that something is not working and that you need to do a little change right there, okay? So I want you guys to look at these trees and think about it. I'm gonna give you a minute to think about it and see which one you like better. Look at them and see which one you like better. Do you like maybe tree number 1 that has very beautiful blossoms, or maybe tree number 2 that has fruits, or number 3 that is very beautiful and green, number 4 is very colorful, number 5, it looks like it's divided by seasons, and number 6 has a lot of blooming flowers and colorful one too, okay? All right, I believe you have chosen your 3 already. And if you chose your 3, this is the results. Here we go. If you chose number 1, that means that you are responsible and a tranquil person, that you like tranquility, and that you're very responsible. When you take on something, you make sure that you're going to do it, and you do it because you're a responsible person. Okay, if you decided that you like tree number 2, that means that you are the type of person that you like to be cooperating with everything, and that you are considerate. So if there is an event going on at church or any other place or in the neighborhood, you are the one that say, okay, I'll help. and that you be considerate with others that maybe don't have as much time as you do, or maybe as much money as you do to invest in it. You are considerate with others, you understand others, and you are always willing to cooperate. Number 3, generosity and intellect. So you are a person that you give whatever you have. If it is money, you help with money. If it is food that you have at home, you help with food. If it is supplies that you have that you can give to someone, if it is clothing, if it is a spiritual advice or academic advice, you are there to give it because you are very generous and you are a very smart person. All right. If you like number 4, sensitivity and creativity. These are the ones that are very creative, and if you find this in your children, it's so much fun. Are the ones that you are really good drawing or sketching or putting a nice room together, or maybe decorating for something, or maybe when you're putting the classes together for your children, you do it in a very creative and unique way. Okay, number 5, hard work and efficiency. Those are the ones that work really hard at it. And if you identify those students with you, or one of your students that is a hard worker, maybe you already know that that student is a hard worker, but you know that that's the one that you're going to be doing work and work and work. And, you know, that student is going to make it with no problem. I remember I used to give my boy 5, 6, 7 tests in a day. I would say, today's test day. And he would be like, okay. So at the end of the day, he would be like, Mom, my brain hurts. But he would go ahead and do all his tests with no problem and do it really well done. He was a hard worker. So you will identify those as you go through to the school year with them. And number 6, these are the ones that have imagination and precision. And if you like number 6, you might be one of those that when you are, you might have a student that when the student is handwriting, it would be like, it has to be perfect. And then, you know, maybe the little thing from the letter A got out of the line, and then he will come and erase. No, it has to be here. And all those personality traits, those are good. Embrace those personality traits in your children, and if you have them too, because those are all good personality traits. If we look at this picture, all of these trees are trees. Now, right, there is a drawing, but those are all trees that we can find in nature. And they're all created by God. They're all good. It's like us. We all come in all kind of different shapes and sizes and colors. And it's all good because it was created by God. So he created your child the way he is, and he created you the way you are. And we just need to embrace all of the differences that we have in our personality. And that's why you're the best person to teach your child, because you know exactly how he or she learns. Are parents qualified to teach their children? Exactly what I just said. Yes, you are highly qualified to teach your children. Let me tell you something. When you have a child crying at home, you know if that child is just being having bad manners, or you know if he's really crying. You know that sometimes, you know, it's just drama, but you know exactly when a child is doing something because it's desperate, it's anxious, or something like that. So you as a parent, you know exactly how your child feels, how your child learns, and how he goes about different things. You know when you need to give a break to your child. So that's why, yes, you are qualified to be a teacher. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to be an experienced teacher to teach your children. You can do that. You can sit down and open a curriculum and go ahead and teach your children. And I'm going to show you, there are many options, and I have mentioned some here that you can use to teach your children. And that's why I say you're highly qualified, because you know how they are, and that's the main thing that you need. And then besides that, you say, but where do I start? What do I do? Or is there out there something else better than what I'm using that can help me? There are so many curriculums online. It's just a matter of fact for you to sit down in your computer and type homeschool curriculums. And you're going to find a bunch of them, and you just read through them. And then you find which one will go with the type of home that you have and the type of things that you want to do. For example, here I have for you something that is called umbrella schools. There are so many umbrella schools. And an umbrella school is a school where you go ahead and you purchase your own curriculum online, and you say, okay, I want to teach my children with this type of curriculum. But I don't want to worry about that I have to be sending stuff to the state, or that the states need to know that my children is in school and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to register under an umbrella school. So that's what you do. So you go and you register under an umbrella school, and then you teach at home, but the umbrella school will go ahead and keep all the records of your children and send everything to the state for you and get that children registered with the state and have a legal that he's or she is in a school and keep all the school records for you. I have in there Greeks Academy, and Greeks Academy is our church, our 7-day Adventist program for homeschool. It's one that I personally use and I really like. And in Greeks Academy, you have the two choices. You can either just purchase the curriculum from them and then do it on your own and find another umbrella school, or you can use them as an umbrella school. Also, you get the curriculum from them, and also they serve as an umbrella school, and they keep all your records and everything. And believe me, you will get either online or in a box all the supplies that you need for the whole year, including tests and everything. You will be teaching that to your children, and then when they're done with the test, you send it to them, and a teacher will grade it for you and send it back graded for you. And then the child knows how it goes. They call you, how are you doing? Do you need any help? And the books, every curriculum will tell you, tell the child to sit down straight. Put these feet on the front so they can have more balance when he's writing. It will tell you everything. So that's why I'm telling you, anybody can homeschool. You just need to sit down, see what you're going to do, and see how you're going to do it. When you are homeschooling, it is very important that you find a corner in the home where you can, use that place for you to use it as a classroom. It doesn't have to be decorated as a classroom like it is in a school. You are at home, so it could be a couch. It could be in your bedroom, whatever you want, but that you know that corner is designated for homeschool, where you're going to have all your supplies, all the books for the kids, everything that you need. So you don't be in the middle of homeschooling just, screaming for the things that you cannot find or that you need. So make sure that you have all your belongings together, all the things together that you are going to need for teaching your children. And a homeschool day. Usually, if I could be with you personally in a room where we are doing this seminar, you would be my students, and I would be doing a homeschool day with you, walk you through a homeschool day. But since we are here on the screen, we have to do this way, just me talking and telling you. And I see there are some questions in there. So at the end of the presentation, I'm going to allow some time for questions, and then we can talk about it. So in a typical homeschool day, as I said before, you have to go about just doing the things the way it works for you. For example, in my case, as I said to you before, I would like for the kids to just wake up when they're done sleeping, when they were not teenagers. And we would start homeschool around 9 or 10, no later than that, every morning. And before they wake up, I made sure that the breakfast was already on the table. So for me, there was no such a thing as, just get up and go and grab cereal and milk. No, breakfast was already on the table, and breakfast would be something that has to do with the Bible lesson for that day, because your curriculum comes with Bible too, okay? So if we were talking about the family of God, baby Jesus, for example, I could have something on the table for breakfast as, let's say, a toast with peanut butter on top, so it can look like a stable. And I would use a little stick of pretzels, and I would leave it there on the side for them to make the little stable with the pretzels on the bread with the peanut butter. And then, we can use some fruits, some pieces of fruits as animals on the side from the stable and all that. And then as I would sit down at the table with them, we would start talking about they pray together. And then as they would be eating, they would be making the stable and talking about it with the food. You can find tons of ideas like that online. I mean, tons. You just type the topic, and it will show you so many things that you can do. And then, by the time we got up from breakfast, Bible class was done. And then we moved on maybe to handwriting and, instruct them how to do it. Maybe we wanted to do handwriting on the couch. Or maybe reading was, going back to the bed. Or something that I used to do, math time. We really like to do it and go outside and do math time on the sidewalk or on the street. We would get chalk and start writing those, and it would be a lot of fun time to doing math for us. We would do it that way, and so on. The day would go on and on and on. And if we had a field trip, we would go to some places to get to learn about different things that we could learn that was applied to the class, or so many things that you can do. In other cases, it might be that your homeschool day cannot start in the morning. Maybe it has to be in the afternoon. And then if you have to do your homeschool in the afternoon, then by all means, homeschool has to be adapted to your lifestyle and to the things that you think are going to be the better for your family. I have a friend that she's a business consultant, and she cannot be homeschooling their children in the morning, but this is something that she really wanted to do. So what she did was she hired a nanny that would be at home with the children while she was working. So when she would get home at 6 p.m., she would be ready, and this took a little bit of trial and error, to just sit down with her children and start homeschooling them. And she would homeschool them at night, and it worked wonderful for her. Her children are already in college now and doing really well. I have another friend that she travels a lot, so they would take their curriculum with them wherever they go, and then, while the dad is in a conference, the mom would be in a hotel room, doing homeschool with the children. I have another friend that they decided to take 1 year off, so they rented an RV, and they decided, because the husband worked from home, so whenever they could do that. So they rented an RV, and they were touring the whole United States to all the historical places in their RV and doing homeschool with their children. So whatever is your situation, or whatever is what you want to do, you can homeschool. It can be done. There is nothing that can stop you from that, because you can create your own schedule for that. And that takes me to remind you that is the God's plan for our children. Since creation, from the beginning, that we instruct our children. It is as simple as that. And let me remind you a couple of the Bible verses that we learn about. Only be careful and watch yourselves closely, so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, or let them fade from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to their children after them. And this one of my favorites said, fix these words of mine in your hearts and minds. Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Remember, we talk about that one extensively. So we need to remember that that's what the Lord wants for us, and that's what He has instructed for us from the beginning. Sadly, our society has changed too much, and then women have to go out and work, and things have changed, times have changed, and then but along with all those changes, we can still be responsible for our children and help. Not only the mom, but as a couple, as both parents helping. Sometimes grandma and grandpa can help too, with one of the classes for our children, and it will be very enriching for them. And here I have for you a few books that I want to share with you. If you like to read, and if you want to know more information about it, this book particularly, so you're thinking about homeschooling, is really great. If you are beginning, if you haven't started yet, and if you don't know where you are, you don't know how to start, this book is fantastic. I highly recommend it. And then a book that changed my parenting style, this one, Different Children, Different Needs. I mean, in that book, you will read a lot about the different needs and the different way the children are, and you will get to know your own children and know how they learn better. And it will really help you a lot. It changed me a lot on the way I would see my children and realize that they are different. We know that they're different, and we see them growing, and we know how it goes. But when you read that book, it opens up your mind to so many other things that you say, wow, yeah, I really need to think about this one and apply this one. Nights in Training, this is a great book for raising boys. Bringing Up Girls, great book from Dr. James Dawson. And same thing with Bringing Up Boys, great book. It's going to help you a lot. And this new Strong-Willed Child, a great book too that will help you if you have one of those at home that very strong-willed. And let me tell you, having a strong-willed child is a really good thing, because those are the ones that when they grow up, nobody's going to be influencing them or telling them what to do or getting them into doing things that are wrong that you didn't teach them. So be happy if you have a strong-willed child at home. It's a good thing, after all. Okay, here are some resources. You can take a screenshot of that. These ones are resources that you can find in Florida. Those are Florida website. But if you are in another state, it's the same thing. Just make sure that you go ahead and when it says Florida, okay, you're just going to change that for the name of your state, and you're going to get the information regarding to your state about homeschool. You will find all that information in those websites, and now we'll give you great information that you can know about homeschooling. And lastly, I want to leave this thought with you before we go into questions. And it says, God hasn't just sent you to do His work in the life of your children. He will use the lives of your children to advance His work in you. Isn't that wonderful? How He tells us that we need to instruct them. And then that same life that we have instructed, is going to be helping us to advance in His Word. Okay, so at this time, I would like to hear your questions, so you can unmute yourself and we can do some questions and answers. So if you have some comments, this is the time to do it. So go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Ruth, right?
Yes.
How are you? Thank you for joining.
I'm okay. Thank you so much for this. Well, I'm in a roller coaster, kind of up and down.
In what state are you?
I'm in Florida.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So my problem was when I first started, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I still feel like I don't have what it takes to do it. But I started in kindergarten. And what I did is that I enrolled in public school, in the homeschool, and all the story that I was reading, I had to change it. Like because I was reading a story about to them where a little fairy tale came and the couple couldn't have a child. So I had to change that. I had to say, they pray and things like that. And you kind of open my eyes sometimes, homeschooling is not the public. And last time I was reading another story again, and I said, Lord, what am I gonna do? I don't have what it takes. When they get to like third grade, fourth grade, when they're alone, right now I'm in control. I can change the story because I'm reading it to them. Exactly. So it's like my mind is just really, it's just all over the world. I mean, right now I have a little bit control. So when do you think that you should let them go to public school? Is there a certain age that you think that they should be ready?
Well, I'll tell you, as I mentioned to you before, it all depends on your family, the way your family is structured and the things that you want. In my case, I have a son that he's in high school and he's still homeschooled. I teach, so I go to school. He's taking some classes online, some others, at the school. And then, we kind of try to balance that way. But I would tell you, if you are able to homeschool your children all the way to it's time for them to go to college, I would highly recommend that. I would highly recommend it. And what I did is thinking about what you're saying. For me, when I started doing homeschool, that was a worry that I had. I was really worried about getting a curriculum that I would have to be changing all the time. And let me tell you, I have a master's in curriculum. So you might say, oh, that might be something easy for you. It is not. To be changing a curriculum is very overwhelming. It is very overwhelming. You have to be changing everything instead of just opening and start teaching. And it's tiring. So that's why one of the sources that I put in there, that's why I went ahead and I said, you know what, I'm going to order the curriculum from our church. And I went ahead and I ordered the curriculum from Grace Academy. And it was a lifesaver for me because I didn't have to worry about changing anything or doing anything new. I just went ahead and opened it and just went with it.
Okay.
Because it has everything. So I would suggest to you to change your curriculum from something that is a Christian curriculum.
Okay.
Okay, so find a Christian curriculum so you don't have to be changing anything. There are many Christian curriculum out there. There is one that is called Sunlight that is really good too. Rebeca is good too. I don't like Rebeca too much because to me it has too many extra things that is like too much, it's too long. And then, in my case, I had to end up cutting and cutting and cutting. So I really like the Greeks Academy one, but it is your choice. But explore. There are so many. Okay. Really good. The other thing that you can do is you can take some classes from the public schools, the one that doesn't have anything to do with religion, like science and Bible and all that. You buy separate books for that are Christians.
Okay.
And then the other ones like history, math, language art, then you let them attend with the public school system, and that will be a little bit less of a burden on you with money-wise.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Especially here in Florida, when you have with Florida Virtual, you have Flex. And with Flex, that's what you do. Flex lets you do that. You can get just any class that you want. If you want to take only one class with them or 2 or 3, then that's what you do. And then the other ones is on your own. And then you're registering there as a homeschooler.
Okay.
So, you can do that. Just register them with Flex as homeschoolers and then just start choosing the classes one by one, the one that you like. Okay, they're going to be taking language art and history and math. The other one, science, that has to do with creation and all that. We're going to do it at home. We're going to do the science, the Bible, the other stuff. I'll do it at home and I'll buy another book for your grade level. And then, you just need to report the grade and that's it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. With the school, I think It's K-12. What is that too? Especially when they're doing like season stuff, which we don't celebrate a lot of those holidays. You know, they would let us go, and especially PE, like the music. It's like it's really. I mean, I would have to just mute the music and let them do the exercise. It's really something to think about. Thank you.
I know. I would, yeah, the PE was one of the ones. I would do it outside with my kids. And, you know, the curriculum that I was using has the presidential challenge PE, where they do the yard meter, all that, and then it tell you the measurements, what you need to do. And let me tell you, I would measure all that with my measuring tape for sewing. I didn't even have that, you know, the longest stick or anything like that. Anything that has inches I can measure, I use that. Okay, you need to jump from here. And it was a lot of fun. Okay, you need to do a jump, you know, this much. And I would use the chalk that you can, you know, mark on the street, on the sidewalk. I at that time, I live in a house that, you know, it was a dead end. So I knew there was no car that was going to be passing by, especially in the morning because everybody's at work. So we would take the street for us and then just be there and, you know, do all the markings on the road and, you know, and so on.
Yes,
so
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody else? I think I saw another hand. Somebody else had another question or a comment. Anybody else had some other comment? See? No? All right. Okay, well, it has been a pleasure for me to be with you this morning. I love to talk about these topics and these subjects, and I know there is so much that we can learn about our children and that we can share with others. And there are so many ways that we can educate them for the Lord. And as I said to you before, you know, let's just remember that our ultimate goal is to take them to heaven. It's not this world. We want them to succeed here and to be, you know, great achievers and to be great professionals. But remember that none of that matters when the Lord comes.
Yes.
Yes,
Ruth?
Ruth?
How do we get in contact with you if we would like to talk a little bit more?
Let me give you my email. I should have done a, let me see what I'm going to do. I'm trying to be creative here. Let me see if I can write it in this paper and put it like that. You can see it. Let me get a marker. Because I should have done a slide at the end that will have my email. And then that way you can reach out to me.
Okay.
Let me try to make it as clear as possible. Okay, almost done because it's kind of long. Then you can email me anytime. There you go. And I don't want to put my phone number here because I don't know who's watching. But after you email me and we start in contact, then I can give you my phone number and then we can talk on the phone if you want to. We can text. Sometimes it's easier, you know, to be texting throughout the day, and that will be okay.
Yes, thank you.
So there it is. If any of you want to get in contact with me, I'll be more than happy to help you or guide you through where you need to be, help you to get started, or, you know, give you some advice. Sometimes you might feel down, like, you know, you cannot continue. You just need to talk to somebody to give you that push to continue going, and I'll be there for you, no problem. You can contact me at any time. You got it?
Yes, it's Rebeca, Ceballoo or LLA?
Rebeca, Ceballoosa.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
And then it's at gmail.com. And then you guys can reach me at any time, and then we can talk, and or can give you then my phone number, and then we can text and talk on the phone or whatever. Okay, you're very welcome. All right. I hope that all of you have a very happy Sabbath. I wish you success with your children, and I know you are the best teacher for your children because that's the way the Lord intended for you to be from creation. And I know you're going to do great things with them, and that they're going to be great achievers in life because they have you by their side and they have the Lord by their side too. So it's a win-win situation. Have a happy Sabbath, everyone. And I hope that I can hear from you soon, from all of you. I would like to know how your journey is going with homeschool and the things that you're doing and the things that are happening with your children. Have a blessed Sabbath, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're very welcome, Yolanda. I wish you success this school year.
Thank you. You keep on keeping on.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.